was born in 1925, so I was 7 years old during the depths in 1932, and I was 14 years old when we began to finally pull out with national defense contracts. To me, the Depression meant moving around constantly because my father was out of work and would seek jobs in other places. So I attended 10 different schools before graduating from high school. It was difficult for me to make a lot of friends under those circumstances. It meant that I became someone who found friends in books. And at the age of 15, I began keeping track of them. So as of today, I'm reading book number 2,441. We came to Elgin in 1950, and I had no hometown. Although when I'm sometimes asked, I said, well, of the 10 schools I attended, 4 of them were in different locations in Milwaukee. But I never really developed a feeling of being in one place. And so it wasn't long before we decided that Elgin would be our hometown. Now, after 60 years, it's entered my mind that this is my hometown. People ask me, when did you come to Elgin? I said, well, I came down with a canoe from Wisconsin with James T. Gifford when he founded the town back in '35. And I was here when the first railroad came in 1860. And I was there at the watch company when we turned out the first watch in 1867. And every once in a while, one of my listeners say, just how old are you? So I've made Elgin my home in many ways. I was a teacher. Many people think that I taught history. Now, I was a history major in college, but because I was raised in the Depression, I just had to have a job, and I realized that you couldn't get many job offers for being a history teacher. To me, teaching economics was a calling because I had an opportunity to tell young people how important it was to save their money when an emergency came. I'd tell them, you know, it's not how much you make, but how much you can save. Six hardbound books and 9 booklets, softbound. Some people think that I've become very wealthy writing these books, but you can't make any money writing local history. In fact, you can't make much money writing. Some few people do. So at an early time, I just contributed my books. One Sunday afternoon, I was tired of studying. I looked up and I saw this student, and she worked in the reserve book section. And you had to fill out this form before you could get out one of these reserve books, author's name, title, and so on. So I asked her name, and she said her name was Frances Clark, and I wrote that as the title of the book. And then for the author, I put down your parents. And then I handed her the slip and said, could I be so bold as to ask you out tonight? Well, she didn't jump over the library desk and say, let's go. She had to investigate me and said I was to call her later that day. And we became engaged about a year later. I always thought she was my favorite book of all time.